Don't let the heat of the moment catch you off guard. Northwest Fire District Public Education Team offers a range of programs including fire and life safety community education, fire extinguisher training, car seat inspections, babysitting programs, senior safety talks, engine demonstrations, and station tours. Your well-being is our priority. For more information, visit nwfdaz.gov or call us at 520-887-1010. Together, we can create a safer and more informed community.
Property crimes are often the result of opportunity. You can take action to help reduce crime by starting a Neighborhood Watch program. Neighborhood Watch serves as a guide for more eyes and ears in your neighborhood. Contact the Marana Police Department Community Resource Unit at 520-382-2055 for more information.
Welcome to Real Talk with the Town, where I sit down with Marana staff to answer your burning questions about our beautiful community. My name is Terry Rozema, and I'm the town manager for the town, so let's get started. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Real Talk with the Town. My name is Terry, and I am your host, and today we are joined by Marana, one of Marana's finest partners in the Northwest Fire District. And today I have here in the studio with me two of Northwest Fire's finest. I got Kyle Canty here. He's our fire marshal and the Division Chief of Prevention. And I also have Josh Zent, the Deputy Chief of Community Risk Reduction. And we're here to talk about what's being done in the town of Marana to ensure that disasters don't happen. That sounds pretty intense. So Josh, welcome. Kyle, welcome. How you guys doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having us, Terry. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyle, how you feeling about it? You ever done this before? You ever done a podcast?
Never done a podcast before. This is my first.
So are you excited?
I'm looking forward to it.
He's so stoked, man. This is like the highlight of his day, I could tell. All right. Well, hey, we always do an icebreaker here on the show. And the icebreaker, this one might be a little bit painful for the police department. But recently, not that long ago, a month ago, I guess it was, there was a little competition, friendly competition out at, was it over at Crossroads, I think?
Yeah, I think it was.
Crossroads Park, yeah.
Park, yeah.
There was a softball game between the police department and the fire district, and I'd like you guys to tell me how that played out.
Well, I think we were glad how it turned out. We were successable, but we had it coming. I think we were due.
You were due.
The last few years are a little rough.
Okay.
So this year, we stepped up to the plate.
Well, literally, no pun intended. Literally stepped up to the plate. A 1-1 for the Northwest Fire District. It's funny to me how it used to be basketball that we'd play, and we ended up getting too many people hurt. And I think it went to kickball for a while. We're literally playing kickball, and now we're playing softball. So
I think, though, that we worked the softball into this, because we put together a team a few years ago that actually went to Las Vegas to play in tournaments.
Okay.
We actually have a few players that played college softball.
Okay. Okay.
After all the losses,
so we see the setup now. Now Chief can maybe not feel so bad about the loss, our police chief won't feel so bad about the loss, because I think every time we played you in basketball, we beat you. So, but it was ugly, man. I played in some of those games, and it was ugly. But hey, we're not here to talk about police fire competitions. We're here to talk about what's being done in the town. And we're going to, obviously, because we have the fire district, Northwest Fire District with us here today, we're going to be talking about it primarily from the perspective of the fire prevention, and not just fire prevention, but all the different things that are being done in the fire department to prevent bad things from happening. So one of the things I want to start off with is you guys are going to talk about the community risk reduction. So either one of you, Josh, Kyle, if one of you wants to take that and run with it and get us running here, what is the community risk reduction? What does that mean?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So, what community risk reduction is just a proactive approach to solving the risk within the community and stopping things from happening before they actually do. Now, historically...
What a novel idea,
yeah.
huh?
What do you know?
Yeah.
We can stop some of these things from occurring. And, historically, the fire service has been very reactive. Mm-hmm. We wait for the alarms to go off, we get in the trucks, we respond. Well, we want to take an approach that kind of levels up on that and get in front of these emergencies and stop them from happening, if and when we can. And if we can't, how do we reduce the impact of these events? That's really what we're interested in.
Well, that sounds like two primary major objectives there.
Absolutely.
One, prevent the stuff that we can prevent from happening and limit the liability, the impact, the negative impact of those that we maybe can't.
Yeah. And we want to do so with the community. It's their plan, it's their homes, and we want their input. We really need it to make sure that our plan is solid and that it is collaborative between the community, the town of Marana, ourselves, all the stakeholders, so that it is a holistic approach.
Okay, so a big part of what we're doing here today is educating the public, asking for their assistance, letting them know we're putting this together and we want their input.
We need it.
Okay. All right. So let's jump over here to Kyle. And do you go by Kyle or Kai, or what do you go by?
Kyle works.
Kyle. Okay. Because
Been called a lot worse, but Kyle works.
Well, my daughter has a boyfriend, and his name is Kyle, but she refuses to let me call him anything but Kai. I don't know why that is, but that's what it is. So, Kyle, let's jump over to you here and talk about what some of those things might be. What are some of the things that maybe you guys look at in terms of preventing things from happening, bad things from happening before they occur?
Yeah, in the Prevention Services Division, one of the first things that happens for us is the building and permitting process. So when you are going to build something, whether it's a house or a business, it has to go through the process to make sure that it meets, for us, fire code, and that at a certain size, it must be sprinklered, and all the different aspects that go into that building to make it as safe as possible to work in or live in, sleep in. So that's where it starts at the beginning, is permitting. The next part for us is the inspection process. So once it's already been permitted and allowed to build, then we can go out and inspect it and continue to inspect it annually with regard to businesses. Our goal in our division is to inspect 100% of the businesses in the Northwest Fire District every year.
Every year?
Every year.
How many businesses is that? I should probably know that. But
It's around 3,400, 3,500.
Whoa.
There's a bunch.
That's a boatload of, that's a boatload of businesses that you're touching every single year.
Every single year.
That's impressive.
Now we've got a good team that is able to, manage that. There's 11 of us total in our prevention division, and we have it broken down into zones.
Okay.
Right? We have the we call it the foothills zone. We have the Wells zone. We have Continental Ranch. So each one of our inspectors will have a zone to go out, and they, have to go and do their inspections.
So are there 11 zones then? If you have 11 inspectors,
there's not 11 zones.
Okay, all right.
There's
a little bit of overlap, maybe in some of the busier,
6.
larger ones.
I don't have a zone.
Okay.
I have the division.
Okay.
We have 2 deputy fire marshals, and we have 7 inspectors.
Okay.
Now, one of those inspectors is dedicated to plans reviews and permitting.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to make a clarifying point here, because I think a lot of people don't realize this, even though we've covered it on the show in the past when the fire chief and other fire personnel have been here. Northwest Fire District, not the same as Town of Marana, 2 separate entities, but work very, very closely with one another, right? We're like locked at the hips, practically. So can you talk a little bit about how some of these things that you're talking about here today, how that is interwoven into the things that happen here at the town? And Kyle, you attend quite a few of our development team meetings, and maybe you can weave that in there a little bit. But can you talk a little bit about how this relationship works and how there's so much overlap and interconnectivity there?
Yeah, I think it's really important to understand how close we are as partnerships with the town of Marana, and being involved in those development services meetings that the town holds can help us present the fire code that we recently adopted in July up to the newest 2024 International Fire Code standard, along with the town did as well. But by allowing us and working together, of us being in these meetings together, we can solve some of these concerns that maybe the builders have before they get started building, and that we are working together with the same kind of priorities with regard to public safety.
All right. And anything you want to add on that, Josh?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to, why does it really matter for Marana to have community risk reduction? And if we look at the town, and something that's on our radar is its growth, how fast it's growing.
Yeah.
And we have to stay in front of that as a fire district in cooperation with the town, with the development services, so that we understand its projected growth, where the risks are, and how do we respond to that? Where does our next fire station need to go? What kind of apparatus do we need to get so that we can continue to protect the community of Marana?
So the growth. So, does the growth scare you, first of all, before we go, does the growth scare you guys at all?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Okay.
Then I'm not in that boat all by myself.
Yeah,
so that's good.
yeah.
What's that?
It's exciting for
It's
the growth.
exciting.
But there is some fear of, are we able to put the fire stations in the right place at the right time to meet the community needs?
Okay. So with that, and I think this is all leading to some really good stuff here, because I think it is questions and concerns that we get from residents all the time. Are we growing too fast? Do you feel that Northwest Fire Department is keeping pace with this? Are we falling behind? Where would you kind of place us in that whole realm?
Yeah, I feel like we are keeping pace, and it's because we've got a pretty strong strategic plan. We're able to forecast 4 or 5 years out, and we've got a plan in place that addresses the growth specifically. And we plan not just for what's happening today or tomorrow, but what's happening 4 or 5 years from now. And when we need to build a fire station and do some of these larger projects, that's how long it actually takes to get them out of the ground. So we can't plan just for today. So our strategic plan kind of covers those bases in a lot of regard. So I feel with that plan, we are almost ahead of that growth. We know it's coming. Now we're just positioning ourselves to support it.
That's an awesome answer, Josh. I so appreciate it. And the reason I appreciate it is because we were in lockstep on that. It's the question I was asking for the purpose of attaining that very answer, because I know, through your police chief and through working with you guys, there's a lot of thought. I mean, you're not sitting around on your hands waiting for stuff to happen, a la vie, what we're dealing with right here and talking about. But relative to the growth, this isn't catching you cold. It's not like stuff's popping up and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was coming. You're in the meetings all the time. Kyle's in the development team meetings all the time. So we know what's around the bend and what's coming and what the next housing development is, what the next major commercial development is, if there's going to be a data center, what that means. We've had lots of discussions about battery storage and, what that could potentially mean, all of those kinds of things. So, you guys are an A+ organization. So I know that you have those plans in place, and I'm really appreciate that perspective. And so let's talk about one of those things that it comes up quite frequently. And it's because, we're government type entities, either government by name or pseudo government organizations. And we have policies and we have procedures and we have all of these things. And sometimes things take much longer than people want them to take, right? When they're trying to get permits for their buildings and stuff has to go through our channels and development services and building officials, and it has to go over to the fire department. And why is it got to go to the fire department too? Right. And they feel like it takes too long. So that with building permits, then you got people who have food trucks and they want to make a living and earn some extra money or trying to get ahead in life. And they got to deal with the fire district and their silly codes, right? There's silly codes that keep them from getting their permit, their license, so they can operate their food truck in Marana. Can you talk about those things? I know they're not silly. So can you talk about what those things are, why they're in place, and why they're important? Well, we'll start with Kyle this time.
Yeah, I think first off, the main reason is because we need to keep everyone safe.
Okay.
Right? And there's got to be something in place that gives us the guidelines to keep people safe. And it's, for us, the International Fire Code, right? That was recently and constantly being looked at and adopted and approved for new things that come out to keep the community safe. And it's important that everything that we do is based off of following the guidelines that are in the fire code. And you bring up, food trucks as an example.
Yeah.
And they're wonderful. They can drive to a location, make the food, provide the food. It's a wonderful service to have. But they also carry propane that's driving down the road in those vehicles.
Yeah.
They also have, ovens and fryers and hood systems that need to be inspected and make sure that they are cleaned and cared for on an ongoing basis to make sure that food is prepared the correct way, and it won't, be a challenge or an issue because of a leak that happened because they're driving down the road.
Right.
So all of that is really important for the public safety. And that's where it goes in line with community risk reduction. We're trying to reduce the risk to the community by having these inspections that we have to do.
Right.
Yeah, and just to add to that is we know that builders are anxious to get building, and when we're pro-business, we want to help them. So we've got rigid timelines that by the time we receive a permit, that clock's ticking, and we turn those out as fast as we can. And we just want to make sure that our inspectors and our folks in the prevention, they're there to help our builders, answer questions, help them through that process. So they're not alone in doing that.
Yeah, and I will say that Northwest Fire District has a very similar, if not, I don't want to say identical, but a lockstep mindset when it comes to serving the people of this community. And so I'm going to back up what you just said in terms of, Northwest Fire District is pro-business and pro-growth and want to get those things done. What do you say to somebody, though, when they say, but the requirements and the codes and all that stuff, it's too onerous, it's too much? What do you say? Let's start with you, Josh.
Yeah, well, we know that the codes are there for a reason. And it's usually from some sort of disaster, something that's happened in the past that requires these things to be in place. And, the easiest one, to think about it are just sprinkler systems. Adding sprinkler systems to our commercial buildings and some residents, that's what saves lives and it saves property.
Yeah.
And we've had to learn that lesson the hard way. But today with those in place, Kyle, you can speak to the numbers better than I can, but we've seen a drastic reduction in property loss and lives that have been endangered because these systems are there. It's a force multiplier for the emergency responders, and it protects these businesses. So that's why a lot of these things are there.
Yeah.
We have, since 2001, we've had 9 instances where sprinklers have proven to save life.
Wow. Just since this year?
No, since 2001.
Since 2001. Okay. 9 different incidents.
2021.
Okay.
2021.
So last 4
years,
or so years. Yeah.
We've had 9 instances.
Fantastic. So let me ask you, is this something that you, I know, this is going to sound silly. Is this something you take very seriously? And if so, why is it that you take it so seriously?
Yeah, when we look at some of these codes and the seriousness behind it, one is the public. We want to make sure that any business or place that these people walk into, they feel safe doing so. That's what gives, the community, some strength. But also it's for our responders. These building systems and everything that we look for in code enforcement protects them as well. So if a sprinkler system's in place, that's an added protection. If we know we've got adequate water supply, if we've got good access and egress, that matters to people that are responding for emergencies. And for us, that's what makes the big difference. That's where we want, to be with it. It's really about safety for the community and for these responders.
Excellent. So speaking of community, how can the community participate in solutions to prevent these potential emergencies, disasters, et cetera? What's the message to them and how they can get plugged in and involved?
Yeah, there's quite a few things that we can either offer or support them with. So first, our public education team, absolutely the best in the business. They can provide, CPR training, first aid training, any of these, community-based trainings that people are looking for. Our pub ed team is there to help. And what we've noticed over the last, few, probably 10 or so years is when the community get engaged, specifically CPR, what we see is a dramatic increase in survival rates.
Wow.
So our community is the ones out there saving lives.
Yeah.
And, I think this year we have a record-setting year for the amount of cardiac arrests that have been what we call code saves. They've come back,
Wow.
And we think and we contribute that to the bystander CPR. It's the people that know CPR, that went through the class, able to deliver that service, and that's what's saving lives. So that's the community side on the EMS. And, on the fire side, some very simple things that the community can do is simply check your smoke alarms. If you're at home, especially this time of year, we're getting into the holiday season, we're going to be doing lots of cooking, having family and friends over. Those smoke alarms are a layer of protection. And what they offer is early detection. And if there's a problem, it can either be solved while it's, small and manageable. If not, it allows for an earlier 911 call. It allows for a company to show up earlier, to reduce property damage, to reduce the risk of injury. And it's all from that smoke alarm. So that's one thing the community do today. Make sure your smoke alarms are up to date.
How true this is, because my kid, my second oldest son, and his wife and my two grandchildren, their two kids, were fast asleep in their RV at an RV resort. And they woke up, his wife, Tawny, she woke up to the entire thing just full of smoke. Woke my son, they grabbed the kids, they ran out, and within less than 4 minutes, the thing was fully engulfed. No smoke detectors went off. Probably because the batteries were dead or something. I mean, who knows? But they didn't go off. And that thing burned to the ground. And video captures the whole thing. And you guys have probably seen those things go up, and it went up like so there is a real life story that supports exactly what you're saying, Josh. Those things are so vitally important. Make sure they're working. Replace those batteries every year. Christmas time is when we replace ours. Whatever works best, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good point too, with it being an RV, right? I don't know if a lot of people think about changing smoke alarms, or even if they have a smoke detector in their RV. But those things do go up fast, as your video had shown.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy. So where can the public get some information about this and about programs, injury prevention, all of those kinds of things? What's the best place to send them?
Best place to go is our website, nwfdaz.gov. There is a whole list of courses that are available to the community, to business owners. Our public education team is ready to go to work for them. So any number of classes are listed there.
Excellent.
We also have a community survey that's available. That's that input that we needed from the community. It's a community risk reduction survey that can be found on any of our social media platforms. You can email us if you want to take the survey as well. We can send a copy out. But any information that's needed, you can go to our website and go to the contact us at nwfdaz.gov.
All right. Well, Josh and Kyle, really appreciate you guys joining me here today. Is there anything else that you'd like to add in closing? Anything that we haven't covered that you think we need to flesh out a little bit more?
I think that covers my notes. You got anything, Kyle?
No, I just want to say again that as far as that relationship with the town of Marana is so important to us. We want to continue to foster that, working with the community and providing whatever needs the community needs are on the first responder side. And also, thank you for the first time on a podcast.
It's a once in a lifetime kind of deal. I mean, it's wonderful, isn't it?
One thing in my fire career I didn't know if I would ever do is a podcast.
It's a podcast.
Thank you.
Well, I have to tell you, I never thought in a million years I'd be doing a podcast, and yet here I am. So,
and thanks for letting us come and connect with the community this way.
Yeah, I think this is huge, and we're going to have you guys back again. We've had Northwest Fire on here a couple of times before, but we always enjoy having our wonderful partners in the community on the show. So I appreciate you guys being here, helping the community get a little bit more informed about why some of these things happen behind the scenes, how much is being done to try and prevent bad things from happening. There is so much thought, energy, effort, and work that goes into the prevention side of things and the preparedness side of things. And we really appreciate that from you guys. I know I speak for our community on that. So thank you for what you guys do.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, we appreciate you joining us week in and week out. Until next time. Submit your questions by visiting maranaaz.gov/realtalk, and we'll answer them right here. To receive notifications for new releases, remember to hit subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Also, remember to follow the town on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date on current news and events.